Next time someone disrespects you, don't say a single word. Don't justify yourself. Don't explain. Don't react. Just watch. And while you watch, something is going to happen to the person standing in front of you that they will never be able to control. Their ego is going to collapse. But before we get there, you need to understand why you are making the worst possible mistake every single time someone insults you, and that mistake is not what you think it is. The mistake is not reacting with anger. The mistake is believing you need to react at all. Every time someone disrespects you, and you feel that immediate impulse to defend yourself, to respond, to prove something, you are revealing one thing to that person. You are revealing that their opinion of you carries weight, that their words have the power to move something inside you. And that is exactly what they want. It doesn't matter if it's a coworker making a joke at your expense in front of everyone. It doesn't matter if it's someone deliberately ignoring you, cutting you off mid-sentence, dismissing your achievement with a smile on their face. The mechanism is always the same. They throw out the bait, and you, almost every time, take it. You take it because you were conditioned to. From the time you were a child, you were taught that silence is weakness, that not defending yourself is cowardice, that you need to fight for your space, your dignity, your name. And that belief, no matter how well-intentioned it is destroying you from the inside. Think honestly for a moment. How many times have you responded to an insult and actually walked away feeling like you won? How many times did you justify yourself, explain your position, defend your point, and still ended up lying in bed that night, replaying the scene in your head, rewriting what you should have said, feeling that bitter residue that just won't leave? That has a name. It's called reactivity, and it is the most sophisticated prison that exists, because the bars are invisible. You don't feel trapped, you feel like you're fighting. But every single time you react to what someone does or says, you transfer control of your own peace of mind into someone else's hands. You hand over the wheel. And the person who insulted you, even if unconsciously, knows this. They don't need to beat you in an argument. They just need to pull you off center. Seneca wrote something that most people read, politely agree with, and then completely ignore in practice. He said that no man is free while he is a slave to his own emotions. Not to other people's emotions, to his own. That is brutal when you actually stop to absorb it. You can free yourself from a bad job. You can free yourself from a toxic relationship. You can change cities, social circles, your entire life. But if you don't free yourself from the tyranny of your own reactions, you will carry that prison inside you wherever you go. The person who insulted you today will be replaced by someone else tomorrow. The environment will change, the faces will change, but the trigger will still be there, untouched, waiting to be activated. Because the problem was never the person. The problem is how much you still depend on external validation to know who you are. And here is the part no one wants to hear. If an insult has the power to destabilize you, it is because some part of you believes it might be true. I am not saying the insult is true. I am saying the doubt lives inside you. And that doubt is the real target, not the other person's words. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire in the known world and spent decades being attacked, betrayed, and ridiculed by senators, generals, and even members of his own family. And in his private notes, the ones he never intended to publish, he wrote the same idea over and over again in different forms. The idea that disturbance never comes from the outside. That no person, no word, no event has the inherent power to hurt you. The power comes from the judgment you make about the event, from the story you tell yourself about what it means. Someone called you incompetent. The fact is that words were spoken. The disturbance begins when you add the next layer. When you think, what if it's true? What if the people around me think the same thing? What if I'm really not enough? That layer, that is the poison, and you are the only one who can stop swallowing it. So what do you actually do in practice when the insult happens? First, pause before anything else. This is not the silence of weakness. It is the silence of someone who is in control. There is an enormous difference between not responding, because you don't know what to say, and not responding, because you chose not to give that power to someone. The person in front of you cannot distinguish between those two silences by their content, but they can feel the difference in what radiates from you. An anxious silence vibrates differently than a solid one. Train the second one. Second, observe the intention behind the insult. People who need to diminish others to feel significant are revealing something precious about themselves in that exact moment. They are showing you where it hurts. They are showing you that they need your reaction to confirm something. When you react with anger or with justification, you confirm it. When you don't react, you subtract. And subtracting is the most devastating form of response because it leaves the other person with nothing to work with. The insult returns to them. The emptiness of your non-reaction becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, they don't see you crumbling. They see themselves. Third, realign with what is yours and what is not. Epictetus was born a slave. Not metaphorically, literally. He had no control over where he lived, what he ate, or what he could say in public. And yet he produced one of the most unshakable philosophies in the history of human thought. His central principle is simple enough to sound obvious, but it changes everything when you actually apply it. Some things depend on you. Most things do not. What someone thinks of you does not depend on you. What someone says about you does not depend on you. How someone treats you in public does not depend on you. What depends on you is how you choose to relate to those things. What meaning you assign, what action you take from there. Every time you suffer over something outside your control, you are paying a price for a contract you never signed. Stop paying. Fourth, build your identity from the inside out, not from the outside in. This is the step that separates people who read Stoic philosophy from people who actually live by it. Most people build their self-worth reactively. It rises when they receive praise and falls when they receive criticism. That means the foundation of your identity is sitting on ground that doesn't belong to you. The Stoic builds differently. You decide who you are. You examine your values. You act in accordance with them, repeatedly, regardless of who is watching or approving. And when someone comes with an insult, it simply finds no surface to land on. Not because you became numb, but because you became whole. A whole person does not need external approval to confirm their wholeness. They already know. Fifth, see the insult for what it actually is. An insult is almost always a poorly disguised cry. It is someone saying, in the most distorted way possible, that they are in pain, that they feel threatened, that they need something they don't know how to ask for, that they are carrying a weight they projected onto you. This does not mean you need to feel sorry for them. It does not mean you need to tolerate it. It does not mean you need to stay in that interaction. It means you stop taking it personally. The insult is not about you. It never was. And now we return to where we started. Next time someone disrespects you, don't say a single word. Not because you were defeated. Not because you are afraid. Not because you don't know what to say. But because you have understood something the person in front of you has not yet understood. That real power was never in the cleverest response, the sharpest argument, or the most calculated humiliation. Real power is being so solid on the inside that other people's words simply slide off your surface, without finding anything to destroy. When you reach that point, the dynamic shifts. The person who came to diminish you loses their footing, because they needed your reaction to feel powerful, and you didn't give it to them. You stood there, present, calm, watching. And in that silence, their ego has nowhere to go. It collapses under its own weight. Not because you did something, but because you didn't. This is defensive stoicism. Not passivity, precision, not weakness. The highest form of discipline a human being can develop. The discipline of not being moved by what does not deserve to move you. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. You do not have to convince anyone of your worth. You only have to know, in an unshakable and silent way, who you are. And let the weight of that speak for you without ever opening your mouth. If you made it this far, it is because some part of you recognizes that you are tired. Tired of being pulled off center. Tired of replaying conversations. Tired of feeling small after interactions with people who don't deserve a single second of your mental energy? This channel exists for that part of you. If you are ready to stop reacting and start building a mind that no one can reach, subscribe. If you would rather keep handing control of your peace to anyone who shows up with a sharp word, the exit button is right there. The choice, as always, is entirely yours.